Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to Cards and Sharps. How y'all doing? All right, we're looking at a Lansky. Kind of think they're what they call their professional sharpening system, or somewhat. This is the one with the 5 stones in it. And I'm not going to do a tutorial or anything on how to use it. There's been many videos out on such a thing, and actually I kind of watched a lot of them myself prior to using it. Of course, read kind of the instructions a little bit, but then the easiest thing was watch other people use it, and I did. Just thought you guys might wonder, what I thought of it. So this is going to be more of a review. I've had it long enough and sharpened enough knives on it now that I have an opinion. But before we discuss that, just I have not tried any of these angled control type sharpening systems before, like KME, Wicked Edge, or this, or anything like that. I have always done mine freehand. This pretty much is a Arkansas stone I use. It's got a coarse side and it's got a fine side. And this is done pretty well at keeping all my knives sharp when I need to sharpen them. And then I do carry this one in my backpack. It's a little AccuSharp diamond hone with a coarse side and a smooth side. Not sure, it's not super coarse, probably maybe 400 grit or something like that. And then you got this one's pretty fine. So that one does really good at just, you need to just touch up on your edges if you're out and about or whatever. Grew up doing it that way and have always done it, and seen these and didn't really know if the expense was really worth it. Sharpening is an essential part of owning knives and appreciating knives, and by all means, a sharp knife is safer than a dull knife. So I've always tried to keep mine sharp and all that, but as far as mirrored edges and that sort of thing, not that big a deal with me. I know for some people sharpening is a hobby, and it is, and actually with these systems like this, it is kind of an enjoyable, kind of fun to especially take an old knife and that's really in bad shape and bring it back around. Done that with some kitchen knives that we had that were, used the pull through on a lot of the kitchen ones. Some of the better ones I've done on the stone, but some of the older knives had some old hickories that I've seen a lot of time on a pull through sharpener, and they were pretty rough. And I actually did some reprofiling and sharpening with this, and got some good results out of that, and actually made some really good cutting knives out of them. But just to look at what we got here. This is I believe this was the Deluxe or something like that. They got different levels. You got one with the natural stones, Arkansas stones, I guess. That's like a 3 set. You got you'll have like a coarse, medium, and a fine. And then you got one with the 3 diamond stones, and then you got this one that's got the 5 stones, and goes from very coarse, which I have not had to use this one. This was a 70 grit, and that is a really coarse stone. I mean, you really, want to put an edge on a piece of flat iron, that'll do it. but have used this one for reprofiling. This is the 120 grit, and then you got the medium. And I found most of my knives that were not super dull. I could start on them with the medium, which is a 280 grit, and that worked really well. And then some of the knives that were already pretty sharp, really, just needed more or less just a little touch up. Used this fine, which is a 600, and then I would finish it off with the ceramic. And actually did manage to put a mirror edge on a few. Like this one, I've used it. This is my box opening knife here, and soft steel, sharpened real easy, and I actually had that edge shining pretty good on it when I last done it. And then I finished everything off with a strop. This is it's gonna be a strop I made. Just went out the shop, grabbed a piece of plywood, measured the width of an old belt I was going to use, and cut it that width, and then just kind of free-handed with the jigsaw little handle here, and made it where I can hang it. And put some green compound on there, and a lot of my knives, unless they're getting real heavy use, just hit them a few times on the strop, and that will bring them back to razor sharp. But this here was like, I want to say $48, something like that. I was looking at these systems. Did not get this necessarily to review. Got it because I wanted to try to see what I thought about this kind of thing. Had bought a KME, and I just couldn't quite let go of them, a couple of $100 to get one of those without just seeing if I really kind of like this type of system. Then you had some cheaper Chinese systems that you just kind of feel funky about. And I watched a lot of reviews and everything, and I know a lot of people are going to turn their nose up at a Lansky system, but I thought this would be good just to see if this kind of sharpening works for me. And it's pretty simple. You got your jaws here, and I can say that from what I've seen from other products, this is probably not really the nicest system, but you just put that in there. This one, since we're not going to do the serrated, we would put it right about there. You want to get that the sharp edge there where it's straight, and then you just attach your stones to rod, and then you pick your angle. I don't know how accurate that angle is. I haven't really checked it. I've done this on when I do freehand on stone. If to find if I'm following the factory angle, I'll do the black Sharpie trick, and then use a fine stone to see if I'm taking the Sharpie off, and adjust my angles accordingly. And it seems like the angles are pretty close, and a lot of it's going to depend on the length of your blade and how much you're able to have of hanging out. That's going to alter it a little bit, but I mean, it's not rocket science unless you're wanting something that could be measured and held up to scrutiny or something like that. Then you might care a little more about, if we're doing a really expensive knife too, you might. But I've got an angle finder on my phone on an app, so if I do really want to see what the angle I'm at, I can use that. But I did also spring, I think it was like $8 for this little stand they have, just because I didn't want to hold it for doing if you're doing one knife every now and then, but I did probably a half dozen knives the first couple of days, and then I just didn't want to have to hold that the whole time. So I got this stand with it. You can fasten the stand down to a wood if you want to, or a shop table or something like that. But that really makes it handy. You're still going to hold it back here to kind of hold it steady, and then you're just going to run your stone. And that seems to work pretty good. I do put tape on the nice blades with the nice finish. I do put some tape on there, so I don't know how bad this would be. That's kind of like a cast aluminum. It feels like it's got a little roughness to it. So rather than risk scratching a good satin finish or a nice shiny finish or anything like that on the blade, I will just put some blue masking tape or something in there on the blade to protect it from the jaws. Yeah, I have found that if you try to go with the lowest angle 17 there, you will, unless you've got a wide blade, you'll want to rub here, or your bar will come rest against this and kind of keep you from getting a full well, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Like when you're in 17 here and you're coming down, depending on where you're at, you're going to be hitting on that red knob there, and it may not let you get down to the blade even. So flaw-wise, the jaws here seem to be low. If you flip it over this way, you're good to go. So I guess if you really want to go with that most thinnest angle, you could just work it on this side and not have to worry about it. But the object here is that you kind of like, you can set your blade in there, get it locked down, sharpen one side, and then you just flip it over, and then you got it. Hit this side, and there you go. Rather than fighting with getting it in and out of these jaws, because you also have to work it to where you want this to be as parallel as possible when you get it tight. So you got to kind of work depending on the thickness of your blade, work your screw here, then work this until you get it where that's parallel, so that will throw your angles off. So a lot of things to consider there. And some of the other systems look like they may be a little more friendly in that regards. But for the money, I'm not going to fault that. I've managed to kind of find my groove with it, and just mainly make sure I get that parallel. And I have done pretty well at sharpening. Like I said, took this cheap true utility knife that I leave on the table in where shipping comes in and goes out, and use it to cut boxes, tape, and that stuff. And it has been adequate for that, but I was able to get it razor sharp with this, and it just really slices through everything real easy. And this was and one of the first ones I sharpened, something that I didn't care if I damaged it while I was learning the system. But all in all, it's I'm gonna recommend this to you guys that don't want to spend a ton of money, but you do want to get a good. I mean, this is definitely quicker and easier than using the stone freehand. And at first I thought, there was a little learning curve to it, not a big one. And after the first time or two doing it, I thought, maybe easier just to grab the stone and just get down to it. But as I got into some of the knives that were had a really rough edge and needed some work. That's where the appreciation for this really came in, and how easy you can bring it back to a good cutting knife and everything. And then you got this, storage box that it all fits right in there real well. You get the honing oil comes with it. You get all these rods, 5 stones, and you're about $50 in. Maybe 60 when you throw in a stand. So all in all, really happy with this, and to the point that kind of makes knife sharpening kind of more fun. Don't know if it'll ever become a hobby, more or less, to me, where I'm really chasing those really shiny mirror edges a lot and all that, but there is some satisfaction when you've achieved that. So who knows, this may be an entry-level drug to sharpening knives, and next thing you know, I'll spring for a KME or Wicked Edge or something like that, and if I do, I'll review that for you guys as well. And as we go down the road, and I kind of figure out more what I'm doing, and feel like I'm maybe a little more accomplished at these type of sharpeners, I may just bring them in for reviews. So just so I can show you guys what just an ordinary guy that loves knives and all that, and uses knives, thinks, and what we do. We're not, I got lots of hobbies. Knives one of them, and this fits in my price range as far as what I'm looking for. So I think a lot of you guys really, if you're want to get into the this would be really good one to start with, or even the 3-stone one, I think would give you a good sense of whether you like these or not, and then maybe spring for it. Probably as these stones wear down, I may buy the diamond ones to go with this, because I do like to see how those work. But really, even these on a pretty rough blade was not that hard to work, or it seemed like it took all that long. I think the longest I spent on the knife so far has been about 30 minutes, and that was pretty much reprofiling and getting it sharp. So, but it was a pretty soft steel too, so it was made it go a lot quicker. All right, guys, let me know what you think. What system you use? You freehand, you use a system like this, you got this, KME, would you try something like this, or have you tried any of those lower priced, that look pretty well engineered Chinese items out there that you see advertised a lot now? I can't get on Facebook without seeing one of those ads pop up, but these Lanskys, you can pick them up at a lot of places. A Bass Pro, you can get them at pretty much any sporting goods store, Academy, or places like that, or you can find them online and Amazon and all that for not too bad as well. So there we go. I hope you guys enjoyed that and found it a little bit informational. If you did, hit that like and subscribe, and if you guys like this kind of thing, like I said, I'll like to bring you content that you want to see. So, I'll spring for another system, whether it's the rod systems or something like that, and we'll have a look at that and let you know what I think of it too. All right, guys, that's all I got for today. We'll see you guys next time.